Hello, and welcome to Montclair News Lab. I'm Zach Taglioli, and here's what's coming up on this episode.
How young dancers stay inspired while social distancing.
To be a dancer. Like, it's not just something that I do, but it's who I am.
A revealing interview with the Dean of the College of the Arts.
The most dangerous experience is when they actually walk off campus, but when they're here, they're well.
And we'll see how student athletes are working out and staying safe.
It's not like a normal year. It's a very difficult year.
All these stories and more coming up for you today on Montclair News Lab.
This week, we look at how Montclair State students and their professors are trying to maximize learning during a pandemic through a combination of persistence and creativity. We have two reports. In a minute, Giovanna Boggin shows us how Montclair State's award-winning dance program is keeping in motion. But first, Katie Cameron takes us into a journalism class that brings remote and in-person students together for a tour around campus.
As Montclair State University students attend a variety of classes, both in person and online, faculty and professors are coming up with creative ways to keep their students engaged this semester. Tara George, a journalism professor at the School of Communication and Media, came up with the idea to take her students both on Zoom and in person on a tour of Montclair's campus.
Obviously, it's challenging for all of us. It's a question of how to make things interesting for students at home, following on Zoom, and at the same time be stimulating to students who are on campus.
Given the circumstances of COVID-19 and students at home unable to come to campus, Professor George had to find a way to keep the whole class connected.
The real breakthrough for myself was the idea of having the students on campus also be on Zoom via their phones. So by having everybody connected on Zoom, we were all basically able to communicate as a class despite the fact that we were separated.
Class consisted of students walking to different spots on campus, while students at home were instructed to read articles published over the years about the campus in the school's newspaper, the Montclarian.
So we're here in front of College Hall, which is the symbolic headquarters of Montclair State. Those who are really serious about reporting on campus could benefit from knowing where the police station is, knowing who to contact at the police station, knowing what the structure of government is. A lot of students come to Montclair State not knowing any of that stuff. So frankly, I think I'll keep it for even when we're out of the COVID era.
Students enjoying the outdoors took a seat at the Red Hawk statue as Professor George gave the class their assignment: to find a story on campus and write about it.
Is anyone familiar with the controversy surrounding this statue?
We spoke to student Tatiana Ricks, who was already looking forward to when the next class on campus will be.
I didn't really expect it to be enjoyable. I kind of enjoy it more than sitting in my dorm room and watching her class online. I hope we can go outside more often.
After realizing how successful the tour was, Professor George understands what she needs to do to keep her students engaged.
I mean, with one little phone on a tripod, I was able to conduct a class that brought together people on campus and off campus using Zoom and headphones, show them what the campus looked like, show them their peers, and, listen to each other. It was a multi-platform learning experience. Kind of cool.
There's an old saying, innovation is taking two things that exist and putting them together in a new way. And this professor did just that. For Montclair News Lab, I'm Katie Cameron.
At 12 years old, Janila Stillman was diagnosed with alopecia, an autoimmune disorder causing hair loss, and she began to wear wigs. While auditioning at a dance convention, in the middle of her performance, her wig came off.
Picked it up and I ran out of the room. I just wanted to be out of there because it was very, very embarrassing for me.
That was when Stillman discovered her love for dance.
Like, okay, I'm just gonna go back in and finish this. And that moment that I realized that this is something serious. Like, this is more than just a hobby that makes me feel good.
From Mississippi, Stillman committed to MSU as a dance major. The spring of 2020, Stillman's sophomore year, she took an internship to dance in Israel. An experience that was supposed to last for 5 months turned into 6 weeks when the coronavirus hit.
Bawling my eyes out, crying on the phone to my parents. You gotta book me a flight to go home.
Returning for the fall, classes now alternate weeks, Group A and B. When Group A is in the studio, Group B is learning the choreography online. Performance went from rehearsing 30 hours to 8 hours a week. First semester assistant professor in the Department of Theater and Dance, Stephanie Batten Bland, came in with the intention to make the best of the situation.
I'm very comfortable with the camera, and as a result of that, I've integrated our Zoomers into our live classes in the way that I'm constantly carrying the computer around, the laptop around with me, so that they can see from different angles, they can see their colleagues from different angles.
And it's not just purely physical, how do you still make the best of where you are?
Rehearsals extended from 1 hour and 15 minutes to 2 hours as class sizes reduced to maintain social distancing.
I kind of like less people. You get more opportunity to get to know your professor and they see you more.
Everyone is really offering a lot of their individuality and their person into the work, and so I'm getting to discover them maybe faster.
Not only are dancers trying to adjust to their cut studio hours, but the mask as well.
I'm definitely breathing in much too much carbon dioxide. I get dizzy much more.
After class, dancers sanitize their areas and are required to get tested for COVID on their in-person rehearsal week.
To be a dancer, it's not just something that I do, but it's who I am.
From Montclair News Lab, I'm Giovanna Boggins.
Sitting down with us today is Dean Gerskis of the College of the Arts here at Montclair State University. Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.
This fall semester has been entirely different than ever before. What have we changed here in the College of the Arts?
We've taken a totally different approach to education, as you know, and it goes back to really the early part of March, and it became really clear, to me at least, that the total remote educational experience was not going to work for everyone. It's very successful for some courses, for others, not so much. So it was really at that point that we started to think long and hard about how we could make it work here in the fall. And we took the approach that first we needed to reduce population density. So right now we have about 40% of our courses with some in-class, in-person experience. And those students don't come every week. They're here every other week. We have very few courses that meet every week. So half the class is on campus at any time. And 40% of all classes, as I said, are on campus. So that means instead of having between 1,800 and 2,000 students here in the College of the Arts on any given day, we have more like 400. We have installed air scrubbers, UV filters. We have UV machines in certain dance studios. In addition to that, we wipe down the studios every day. We have barriers. If you go around, you can see barriers in the strangest places. So for me, it's safer than going to Stop and Shop, I'll say that.
How did you and all of the professors decide which classes would be totally online and which classes would have those in-person components?
We really looked at the hands-on courses. So we knew, for example, dance. Those courses really would benefit by being taught in person. We knew courses that had a lot of camera work in it would benefit by being taught in person. There were other courses, seminars, lectures, that really could be done online. And in fact, were being done successfully online. So we left those and really concentrated on the courses that students would benefit by attending in person.
So some students have complained that this semester's online courses reduce the value of their education. What do you say to those students who feel like maybe they're throwing their money away?
I don't agree with that. I think what we've discovered is that certain courses lend themselves very well to online instruction. Students may not like that. They may prefer to be in class. They may prefer to be in a situation where they are surrounded by other students. But that's not the world we live in at the moment. And so the online experience, especially the synchronous online experience, is a reasonably good substitute for that. Is it the same thing? No. Does it have value? Absolutely.
Taking everything into consideration, do you feel safe on this campus?
For me, the most dangerous part of any day is when I drive to campus and when I drive home from campus. When I'm here, I feel totally safe. I don't sit in my office. Obviously, I'm here in the studio with you. I wear a mask when I'm supposed to wear a mask. In my view, being in our buildings, in our College of the Arts buildings, is one of the safest experiences that our students will have. The most dangerous experience is when they actually walk off campus, but when they're here, they're well.
Thank you, Dean Gerskis, for that wonderful interview. And now we go to students to ask how their semester is going so far.
A lot of my classes are online. I've only really been in person like once or twice a week maybe. It's a little complicated with some professors.
It's a little bit difficult because I have to teach myself pretty much everything.
Regardless of what everything's happening, they still hold a lot of events and there's a lot of things to go to.
It's definitely been difficult to pay attention in some of them, and it's hard not to see people in person.
Having to come to campus because I commute now. I was dorming for 3 years, but now making this journey from where I live, it's much more different.
The food is just, there's nothing on campus for people who live here.
I feel like students are way more independent, and not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but for me, I like having interaction. I like seeing other people and bouncing off ideas with other people.
The hidden assignments, like when you go on Canvas and it'll be like, oh, a discussion post is due, but then you don't see it because it's hidden behind something else, is ridiculous.
Getting to see everybody from my class, I guess. Obviously, our time got cut short last semester, so we couldn't really talk as much. So yeah, I just enjoy seeing them.
I definitely have more time. In terms of like time management, I can go back and review lectures and like review material that I wouldn't understand the first time, and I have more time to do that.
Not yet.
Those were just some of the students' reactions from around campus. Now we're here with Gabby Tancredi, our partner from the Red Hawk Sports Network, who sat down to talk with the head athletic trainer about what it's like to be an athlete this semester.
Due to COVID-19, Red Hawk Sports will look different than ever before. Student athletes are taking precautionary measures prior to practicing with their respective teams. We spoke with head athletic trainer Tara Temple about the new protocols and how athletes are getting used to the new normal.
So there's been a lot of changes within athletics. You know, we're worried about the health and safety of not only our student athletes, but our staff and coaches and everyone working around. So we've done a lot of different changes. The way that we check in daily to our facilities and to every practice. Everyone is temperature screened. They show their little daily Red Hawk check on their phone with the green smiley face. We also do little checks every single day with our student athletes and also staff. So there's a lot of different protocols, but those are just a couple of the daily changes that we have had.
Though it has been a change, the Red Hawk athletes are responding to the new protocols well.
Transitioning's been a little weird. Having to wear a mask and wash your hands all the time, hand sanitizer, masking on the bathroom, only when you're not on the field. It's a little difficult to begin with, but I feel like we've all gotten used to it.
We have worked a lot with our teams, staff, and coaches to do a lot of virtual education. So we've done a lot of Zoom meetings, educating them on the protocols, the proper procedures, and ways to stay safe and healthy. And our student athletes and staff have done a great job. They have reacted and done so many great things. They have come in and understood that it's not like a normal year. It's a very difficult year. So, you know, they've done very well with working with us on that.
Head Athletic Director Tara Temple and the entire athletic department are doing their part in following the guidelines to ensure the Red Hawks have a safe and successful 2021 season.
I love Tara, I love all the trainers here. They've been doing great job.
In athletics, we're trying our hardest to keep everyone safe and healthy, and you know, there is no perfect solution, but we're trying to find ways to move forward, and we only hope to keep moving forward with all of our athletics. We have some teams starting up very soon. So again, we hope to only keep moving forward.
This is Gabrielle Tancredi from Montclair News Lab.
Before we go, for our photo of the week, we have a shot taken by senior journalism major Sanat Chowdhury called Essential Employees at the Cage.
Work-study employee and senior communication and media studies student Emily Alba checks in freshman journalism student Lenice Olavace's equipment at Montclair State University. Great work, Sana. And that's all we have for you today. Don't forget to tune in next week for a brand new episode. From Montclair News Lab, I'm Zach Taglioli. Stay safe and stay smart.